Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This video, we are going to start the plateau breaking in NHL 21. I wanted to do this video a while ago, but now that I've really run the gauntlet and gotten to like 2250 skill rating in Rivals and gone all the way to Division 1, I think now is the time I've gotten a good grasp on the changes throughout as you're climbing the divisions in Rivals, and that's really the only way to base how well you're doing on a week-to-week basis. Obviously, Hut Champs is one thing, but Hut Champs, if you just get the same amount of wins every single time, you're really not learning anything. So, but the division that you're in, I've kind of come up with a way to break down the things that you need to work on, because I'm going to use this as an example throughout, and I've used it many, many times on stream, that in video games, sports video games specifically, and I'm going to use golf as an example. If you have a terrible swing in golf and you go to the driving range and hit 1,000 balls, all you've really done is practice your swing 1,000 times. Obviously, you'll get a little bit stronger maybe, and the motion will become a little bit better, but it really doesn't change anything unless you change something mechanically. So the same thing works for sports video games. If you get stuck, and especially with how skill-based matchmaking works in NHL 21 specifically, it matches you hard against your skill rating. There is a plateau, and if you do not make actual changes to your gameplay, and I'm not talking about just playing more, that will help in the lower divisions, but we'll talk about that as well. I'm talking about as you get into like Division 3 and Division 2, there are specific things that you need to look for gameplay-wise and things that you need to change up, or you're really not going to adjust and improve. And again, if you don't want to improve, that's fine. Just like, you know what I'm talking about? Like, just play the game if you're having a blast. This isn't a video saying like, hey, everyone needs to get better, because it's a video game in the end. But for the people that visit my channel and watch all my tip videos and things like that, this is for you guys. So we are going to start today with Division 10 and 9 and 8. Okay, so again, this is going to go all the way, and I'm going to show you gameplay things, settings, strategies, lineup decisions, and builds that you want to do throughout the divisions that will help break your plateaus. And one thing I want to mention is that I'm going to talk about doing things in the lower division that will change in the higher division. And I know immediately some of the comments are going to be like, well, why aren't you practicing that earlier? There's things that you need to learn as you're growing and climbing up the ranks and divisions before you can kind of take that advanced stuff. I think that's what makes my channel kind of unique when it comes to tips, is that I'm a good player, but I'm not super elite. So I know what it's like, you guys. Like, I had to make actual changes to my gameplay as I'm going, or I just wouldn't improve. And I have the luxury of knowing some of the best players in the world that I get to talk to all the time and watch them play, specifically covering esports events. So I think I can offer some really good insights to this. And like I said, there's things that you need to worry about as you're climbing up, and then things that you need to change. And I'll tell you what those are throughout these videos. So guys, if you are interested in this video series, make sure you subscribe, as I will be continuing it on over the next week or so, especially as GWC is now underway. But all right, let's get into the first video, plateau breaking in NHL 21 for Rivals, starting with Division 10 through 8. All right, so if you are in Division 10, you are just starting out. Again, guys, this is, if you're an elite player or you're in the top, the second or third division, this one isn't for you, and I apologize. Maybe you'll learn something, but this is for the guys that have just picked up the game and, you're losing all the time. You're stuck in Division 10 or 9. You need to know what to do and what to change, and honestly, sometimes just having a plan makes you play better. But we're going to first start with your lineup, okay, and settings specifically. So we'll start with settings. These are the things that you need to change in terms of just, giving yourself the best chance to win in NHL. All right, so the first thing that you want to do is you need to learn the skill stick. If you are not using the skill stick, if you're using hybrid, I guess if you're used to hybrid, you've been playing for years on it, then okay. There are 1 or 2 pro players that I know of that still use it, but it gives you it does not help you out. Okay, it does not give you an advantage. It actually hinders you, but if you're great with it, you're great with it. But regardless, you need to learn skill stick, and we'll talk about the things that you need to learn specifically, especially if you're in Division 10. Auto backskating, get that off. You need to remove that immediately, especially with how defensemen are now penalized when they make their turn. If you have auto backskating on, you cannot dictate when that turn happens, which means you're just going to get guys that'll blow by you on the wing. Vibration, honestly, I have it off because, I don't know why people have it on. You just want your hands to rumble when, the game's already intense. And then online pass assist, put that one at 100. Anyone that tells you otherwise is flawed, guys. What pass assist does is it basically increases the circle in which your player that you're passing to can receive the puck. So if you make it 0, it has nothing to do with the actual pass from the player you're hitting R2 with. It has everything to do with the circle around your player that is receiving it. The smaller the pass assist percentage, the smaller the circle, which just makes it harder for you. Always keep that at 100. And then next is your camera. Okay, camera is important because if you have the wrong camera, you are putting yourself at a disadvantage. There are 3 camera angles, really 2 that I would recommend that are viable. Okay, first is zone. It's the one I always use. The reason why I love zone so much, it is very far back for some people, but the thing that it does is it allows you to see behind you when you're in the offensive zone behind the net. It allows you to see behind the blue line, which then allows you to make sure that nothing's getting behind you. The other option is overhead. This has been the go-to for the last 15 years. It is still very good, but again, the one disadvantage that it has is that you can't see behind you when you're deep in the offensive zone. And if you turn the puck over, you might not know that someone is slightly behind you. That's why I always recommend zone, but those are the 2 that you want to have. If you're using something else, guys, get used to overhead or zone. They are going to help you out more than any other camera angle. And then lastly, before we get into the gameplay, I think for these upper divisions, make sure that you've got your forwards and defensemen off-handed. So what I mean by that is left-handed wingers or left-handed players on the right wing and right-handed players on the left wing. And the reason for that is so that you always have a one-timer option throughout. It also allows you to cut into the middle when driving down the wing for a short side wrister. Having players on their correct side, while that is a normal thing in hockey, is just going to put you at a much bigger disadvantage because your opponent, not only can you not do one-timers as nearly as effectively, but your opponent can see that and they know that they don't really have to play for the one-timer. That's the biggest disadvantage. I use correct side defensemen, but I'm telling you that if you're in the lower divisions, please do not. Switch your lefties and righties so that you have a one-timer option from the point, as the point shot is an extremely viable option and something that you want to work on or something that you want to take advantage of, especially in the lower divisions. Next up, guys, you need to learn how to aim. So again, with the skill stick, you need to learn how to use it correctly. And again, this is for the lower divisions. If you are someone who just winds up and takes a slap shot or flicks up on the right thumbstick, you're not doing yourself any favors. Once you learn to actually aim with the left thumbstick, the one you skate with, you're going to drastically increase your scoring. And again, guys, I know this is very trivial, but this is for anyone in the very, very lower divisions, because just doing this alone will bump you up all the way probably to division 7 to 6. All right, so coming down the wing here, and then just firing short side. All right, that's something that you need to work on. It doesn't take much. You just go into practice mode. And even if you don't score on it, you just need to get the motion of aiming top corner. All right, so if you go and look at the replay, well, watch as I'm skating in. Watch that left thumbstick, okay? This is the one you want to pay attention to as I skate into the middle, and then aim it top right. All right, guys, that's a short side wrister. That is going to be one of your go-tos, and again, why it's so important to have offhanded players on the wing. You cut into the middle, and it's very, very simple to just, fire up top corner. The other thing, guys, is to just get used to the controls, okay? Something that is really going to help you while playing this game is learning how to go on the forehand or backhand, okay? So again, this is the forehand by putting the right thumbstick to 9 o'clock. This is the backhand by going the right thumbstick to 3 o'clock. Something that you're going to notice when entering the zone, if you just go and hold out the right thumbstick to 3 o'clock or 9 o'clock, it's going to allow you to cut and make moves. And the one thing is, when people are spamming R1 on you specifically, that draws penalties more than any other thing. The second that you do a deke, it increases the chance you're going to get a penalty called against drastically. So whenever you're skating, just get used to that. Don't worry about half spins or anything like that. Just get used to using the skill stick, as it is just, the most important, especially early on. And that's just going to come by playing the game and practicing, okay? So just get used to that. Even just the one-tap dekes by hitting L1, just get used to what they do, okay? You don't have to use them, but you have to know what's going to happen when you do it. That's the main thing here. And then again, also, like aiming slap shots, again, it's just super important early on to just be able to aim where you're trying to, as that's going to open up a lot offensively. And again, in the lower divisions, just knowing that and doing that is you're going to be able to beat the guys that are stuck in division 10 or 9. And then lastly, the thing I want to talk about here for the lower divisions is have a strategy in place and have your strategy set to something that you know will actually work. Again, I explained throughout this year and even in my strategies video, there's I change them every game depending on who I'm playing. If there's, I have one that I stick to at the beginning, and again, I play aggressive, and I think that if you're a better player, you can get away with being aggressive, and obviously taking away time and space is, you know, the best way to neutralize an opponent. But whenever I'm playing someone who is very good at handling that aggressiveness, I need to adjust. And I think that just knowing what these settings do, especially in the lower divisions, is going to allow you to increase out of that division 10 through 8 phase. So again, I'll give you the things that I think that you should use. Okay, so the forecheck 2 to 3, 100%, and the reason is that it allows 2 players specifically to attack the puck, and it allows 3 players to be back, so that you don't give up 2-on-1s really, because you've got 3 players back. This is really my favorite forecheck, and the only other one I would really recommend would be the 1-2-2 aggressive, but I wouldn't use it just because I think you need to be the one that's on the forechecker, and it's tough to do, especially in the lower division. So neutral zone 1-2-2 red. The thing about the 1-2-2 red is it's only effective if you are always pressuring the puck carrier. So when they're passing the puck out of the zone through the middle, you need to be hitting R2 to switch players all the time, so that, you know, you're closest to the puck carrier. For the lower divisions, guys, go to the 1-4 and play a little bit slower, okay? Because again, the people that you're playing, they don't really have a game plan. That's why they're in that lower division, okay? So basically all that they're doing is reacting. Okay, and that's what you want to do. You want to get your opponent to react to what you're doing, not the other way around, because that's how you start chasing, giving up, you know, being impatient. Trap and forecheck, set that all the way to 0. Again, you want to be able to have 4 guys back and not get beat on the 2-on-1s. Then the lower divisions, I see it all the time when I'm doing gameplay reviews. You guys get super aggressive and you chase. Just play when you lose the puck in the offensive zone, come back, okay? And again, this will allow you to make sure that you're not caught out of position, because the trap is, you know, much less. If you start losing by a lot, this is the first thing to change all the way to the top, and then this to the 1-2-2 red. But when you start, and even if you're down by a couple, change it to this. Offensive pressure, change it to conservative. Offensive pressure dictates what your defense and offense will do as you're breaking the puck out in the neutral zone. So, you know, you'll see your defensemen, if they kind of don't go, you know, don't rush up the ice, that's because you've got this set to lower. And again, I think that for the lower divisions, that's key. If you set it to full attack, they're going to be busting up the ice. Defensive pressure, set this to collapsing and protect net. Again, guys, the thing that I see in the lower division is everyone just chases, okay? You want to be mindful of the player that you have selected. So if you have the right winger selected, understand that your job is to cover the top right defenseman. And if he doesn't have the puck, switch to the guy that has the puck, okay? So if he's down low, switch to your right-hand defenseman, okay? Don't get pulled out of position. The second that the guy starts cycling around the zone, keep switching players and putting pressure on, but make sure you do not pull yourself out of position. If you don't know where you're supposed to be with each player, maybe you're new to hockey, I have a video in terms of defensive tips that you can go and look in my NHL 21 tip playlist, okay? But this is what you should do, because again, it'll make sure that it'll force your opponent to the outside, not give up those in the slot one-timers. Penalty kill, passive box, again, that just allows everyone to collapse into the middle and stops those. Power play, this one's tough, don't really worry about it. The other thing that you want to make sure is on the quick breakout, use close support. If someone starts pressuring you, close support helps the most, because it makes sure that you always have a player around you to pass to. And guys, if you have your puck with a defenseman behind your net, your first read should be the centerman in front of your goalie. Unless that's covered, you need to be passing to him on the breakout, okay? The offensive zone, again, I have a video that breaks down behind the net, and anyone that's in Division 10 through 8 needs to watch that video. My offensive tips, as well as my strategy video in terms of behind the net, again, they are in the playlist on the main page. Behind the net for all lines, and you need to learn how to start cycling behind the net. Don't worry about this too much now. We're going to focus on that once you get into Division 7. But if just 10 through 8, just have it on behind the net and understand that your goal is to always get behind the net, okay? It's going to force you. You need to force yourself to cycle behind the net, because what you're doing is you're trying to open something up. If you go watch that tip video, that will explain everything that you need to know, and you will understand exactly what to do with behind the net, and that alone is going to bump you up like 3 divisions. All right, guys, so really basic stuff here in this first video in terms of breaking plateaus in NHL 21, but I wanted to just make sure that especially divisions 10 and 9 and 8, the lower divisions, just knowing this information is going to bump you up divisions. I've had guys in my comments that have said just changing those kind of settings and using those strats and understanding what behind the net does has instantly shot them up to like division 5. That's why this one isn't gameplay heavy, but learning the controls, learning the skill stick, again, just messing around in practice mode or squad battles even, super important. And yeah, guys, it's just aiming your one-timers. You need to get used to being able to aim the puck instead of just flicking up, because I don't know how many times I see guys that take 40 shots on goal in the lower divisions, but they're literally not aiming their shot at all. And especially with how goaltenders are and the ratings they are in HUT at this time of the year, you're going to have a hell of a time. So guys, next video will be for divisions 7 through 5, and that is going to require you some substantial gameplay that I'm going to break down, and some things that in game you're going to need to change. But for 10 through 8, doing this, I promise you, will get you into Division 7. All right, guys, let me know what you think in the comments section down below. If you like the thought of this video series, we're going to go all the way through Division 1. I'm excited for it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'll see you next time. Have a good one, boys.